I am Professor Raja, Assistant Professor EC Department from SNS College of Technology, Coimbatore. In this video, I am going to discuss about the topic tuned radio frequency receiver under the subject 19 ECB 301 analog and digital communication. So we know that receiver is the receiving medium used to receive the input signal transmitted from the transmitter. So TRF receiver is basically under the category of radio receiver. So basically the signals are transmitted from transmitter and they are received at the receiver side. So now we are move on to the next important criteria for the classifications of receiver. So in basically the classifications of radio receivers are under two types. One is called AM receiver, the another one is called FM receiver. AM receiver receives broadcast of speech or music from AM transmitters which operate on long wave, medium wave or short wave bands. Whereas in FM receiver, it receives broadcast programs from FM transmitter which operates only in very high frequency and upper high frequency bands. So TRF is under the FM receiver type. And the next classifications are communication receivers, which is used for reception of telegraph or shortwave telephonic signals, and also the television receivers, which is used to receive television broadcast in VHF or UHF bands. The radar receivers, which is used to receive radio detection and ranging signals. So depend upon the fundamental aspect, that is how these receivers are receiving the input signal. Based on that, the radio receivers are classified into two types. One is called the tuned radio frequency receiver, the another one is called the super heterodyne receiver. So now we are going to discuss about why we need these receivers. So mainly the radio receivers are used for select the desired signal and reject the unwanted signal. For example, in our area, if the FM signal having the frequency of 91.1 MHz means they must select only the 91.1 MHz and they have the capability to reject the other signals. So that is what we are going to use the radio receiver. Then we need to intercept the electromagnetic waves in the receiving antenna to produce the desired RF modulated carrier. Also, it is used to amplify the radio frequency signal because we are using radio receiver. So the main purpose of radio receiver to receive the radio frequency. Then detect the RF carrier to get back the original modulation frequency voltage. Then finally, it is used to amplify the modulation frequency voltage. So whatever the signal we are receiving by using the radio receiver, we need to amplify and given to the speaker. Next, what are the features of radio receiver means? It is basically it is the simplest one because we are transmitting and receiving the receiver done only in the receiving part only. So it is simplicity of operation, then good fidelity, good selectivity, average sensitivity and adaptability to different types of areas. What is meant by simplicity of operation means if you see this operation, the radio receiver consists only a normal RF amplifier and inbuilt with a detector. So only two blocks are there. So it is a very simplest process. What is meant by good fidelity means if a rainy situation is there, transmitter is transmitting a signal to somewhere and a receiver is receiving a signal in somewhere. These two signals are transmitted received in air medium only. Suppose in any rainy situation, if the signal is faded, this will not be affected the original quality of the signal. That is called fidelity. Selectivity means the ability of the receiver to receive a particular channel. Sensitivity means the ability of the receiver to receive the weakest path of the channel. Then this radio receiver can be used in so many antennas. Aerial means it is antennas. For example, some particular FM receiver can act as a Yagi-Uda antenna, or they can be acted as a helical antenna, or they can be acted as a microstrip antenna likewise. The next, first we see why we go for FM receiver instead of AM receiver. So in this FM receiver, it has poor selectivity. If you see this figure, the first person will say, "Hi bro," but due to the rainy situation or due to some noisy environment between this transmitter, the receiver will hear, "I cannot hear." So here the signal is having a noisy condition. So the sender and transmitter may not have a proper way to receive the signal. The next one, if the receiver has poor sensitivity. For example, one person is receiver from New York and another person is from Sydney, they have to transmit a message of how are you. But due to some very weak signal between transmitter and receiver, the receiver will receive HOWEY only instead of HOWARU. The next, poor fidelity. Poor fidelity means the information may not communicated in a proper way. For example, transmitter want to transmit information of how are you, but receiver may receive the information is something wrong, so they will reply my father is fine. So the total quality of the signal is distorted. So why we go for AM radio receiver? So radio receiver is an electronic equipment which picks up the desired signal and rejects the unwanted signal and demodulate the carrier signal to get back the original modulating signal. So the main purpose is to select the desired signal and reject the unwanted signal. Next, what is the function of radio receiver? It selects the desired signal and reject unwanted signal. It amplifies the radio frequency signal and it demodulates the selected signal. Finally, it is given to the speaker for amplification. So this is the block diagram of receiver. So if you see the block diagram, this block diagram consists of three main important blocks. First one will be the first RF amplifier and the second RF amplifier followed by a detector. These three are called as ganged tuning, followed by a second stage of audio amplifier. The third stage will be the power amplifier. So now we are see detail about this. So if you see this figure, whatever the signal transmitted by the transmitter, first it can be received by the receiver antenna. So the antenna is the medium where it receives the original input signal. This input signal consists the message and also some noises are added in this signal. So the noises can be removed by using a RF amplifier and they have to tune to a particular frequency. So the first block RF amplifier with the tuning load will do the work of removing the noise and tuning to the particular frequency. Then this signal is again get back to this original format by using a demodulator, because message plus carrier is added in the transmitter. The same signal can be received by the receiver. The RF amplifier will remove the noise. Also it is used to recover the original message signal from the carrier signal. A demodulator will detect the particular frequency of the signal and it is given the signal to the audio frequency amplifier. The amplifier will correct and limit the amplitude of the input signal, because due to air medium transmission, the signals may be in maximum or minimum of distortion. So this AF amplifier will limit the amplitude and further it provides the necessary gain and the sensitivity to this particular signal. This AF amplifier output is given to power amplifier input, where power amplifier does the overall gain improvement of the input signal. So the amplified signal is given to speaker for telecasting. So that only we discussed. A tuned radio frequency receiver is a type of radio receiver that is usually composed of one or more tuned radio frequency amplifier stages followed by a detector circuit to extract the audio signal and an audio frequency amplifier. In popularly 1920s, it could be a tedious to operate because each stage must be individually tuned to the station frequency. For example, in 1920s, where the government want to transmit their signal to the people of citizens, so they have to transmit their signal in a particular frequency. People in individual home, they have the radio receiver, means they are tuned to that particular frequency, so they will hear whatever the government want to send their information. So by the mid 1930s, it was replaced by a super heterodyne receiver invented by Edwin Armstrong. So TRF receiver is the basic receiver, whereas super heterodyne receiver is the advanced receiver. So the next video we are going to discuss about the super heterodyne receiver. So this is the first generated tuned radio frequency receiver, where all these are consist of a transistor, a coupled number of capacitors, and it is inbuilt with a number of wires and resistors. So in 1920s and 30s, the inventor TRF having this kind of operation. One or more tuned RF amplifier stages are there. These will amplify the signals of the desired station to a level sufficient to drive the detector, and it rejects all other signals picked up by the antenna. A detector is used to extract the audio signal from the radio carrier signal by rectifying it. So detector is the medium where it gives the original input signal. and optionally but almost always included one or more audio amplifier stages which is used to increase the power of the audio amplifier signal. So what are these advantages of TRF receiver? Means TRF receiver is mainly used to amplify the defined frequency or particular frequency. Signal to noise ratio at the output side is very good. They are well suited for radio transmitter and receivers. The band of frequency over which amplification is required can be varied. What is the disadvantages? Means since I told these are invented in 1920s in the range of 1920 to 1930, they have used an inductor and a capacitor. As tuning these elements become very bulky and it also becomes very costly. They are not suitably to amplify audio frequency. If the band of the frequency is increased, design becomes very complex. So thank you for watching this video. For the next video, we are going to discuss about the super heterodyne receiver, which is construction and working. Thank you.